Now, for those who are unable to see me right now because you're listening on the radio, I am right now wearing a t-shirt, baseball cap, and to be honest, I'm not even freshly shaved, and I'm speaking to you about Jesus. Now, is that a problem? Some people would have an issue with a pastor looking like this. Some people actually would be honestly more concerned uh, about my appearance than carrying anything or completely disregard anything that I'm saying. I mean, how dare a pastor look like that? Well, in our scripture today, we have a similar situation happening to Jesus. He and his disciples are in the marketplace when some Pharisees and scribes notice that some of the disciples are eating without washing their hands. Now, this is not appropriate according to tradition, and they complain to Jesus about them eating with what would be they considered defiled hands. Now, Jesus knows, of course, that when the scribes and Pharisees ask why some of the disciples are not washing their hands, that question is not an innocent one. I mean, they don't care what Jesus is teaching. Their only desire is to indict him for not following the law, or trying to indict him is to, accuse him of believing that he's above the law. Now, Jesus responds with the rebuke from Isaiah. This people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. He basically calls them hypocrites because they abandon the commandment of God and hold to human tradition. This is more than a condemnation of empty worship practices. It's a condemnation of the scribes and Pharisees' distortion of tradition to aid in their own agenda. I mean, Jesus is not rejecting the law. In fact, he's rebuking them for their failure to uphold the intent of the law. The passage ends of our scripture with a representative list of things that are actually capable of making a person impure. Jesus gives a list of fornication, theft, murder, adultery, avarice, wickedness, deceit, licentiousness. Now, there's a good word. Envy, slander, pride, folly. He says all these evil things come from within, and they defile a person. Some are deeds, some are character traits, and others are attitudes. But they all originate in the human heart. Because Jesus tells us that true defilement dwells deep within us. The real issue that Jesus is pointing out is the state of the human heart. The issue is not whether the disciples are eating with unwashed hands. The issue is not whether I'm wearing a t-shirt, wearing a baseball cap. You see, Jesus is speaking to all those who are gathered around him. He wants them to understand that it's not what you take into yourself that makes you impure, but rather the things that come out of you are what defile you. Unfortunately, I could tell you some horrible stories about people that I've personally witnessed and even been a target of. People that you would actually find in church every Sunday. And unfortunately, it is sad to see what the children of God can be capable of. Jesus is not saying that the human heart is only capable of evil, because it's also capable of great love and compassion. The Pharisees and scribes are actually not the subject of his criticism, but only illustrations for what humans are capable of. When you look at verses 7 through 23 in our gospel, Jesus doesn't specifically referred to the Pharisees and scribes throughout the whole gospel. If you look at it in the original Greek, Jesus is actually using the word anthropos. He used it 11 times, and that means human being or person. You see, Jesus is saying that we're all horrible people and that we should go home today and dwell on just how no good we are. Not at all. Jesus is saying we need to be honest with ourselves by looking in the mirror. We're capable of being selfish and mean, at times downright evil, and sometimes worst of all, apathetic towards others. But you know what? That is not forced upon us. These are choices that we make. Jesus is clearly saying that Satan is not the cause of our thoughts and actions. The devil made me do it is not a reason, it's an excuse. Jesus charges us to take this honest assessment of ourselves because we are capable of change. He's not asking you to consider what is in your heart, but to act on it. Who are you really? What is in your heart? So what truly defiles us? Yeah, it's not how we're dressed. It's not what we eat or whether we wash our hands before we do so. What we do and say originates in our hearts. And that's who we are. Thankfully, we have free will. We are not forced to do anything we don't want to. And we can do better. We can make life better for others. We can make this world better, one person at a time. And when we make the world better, we also make our lives better as well. God bless you and have a wonderful day.
O God, my faithful God, true fountain ever flowing, without whom nothing is, all perfect gifts bestowing, give me a healthy frame, and may I have within a conscience free from blame, a soul unstained by sin. Give me the strength to do with ready heart and willing whatever you command, my calling here fulfilling, to do it when I ought, with all my might and bless whatever I have wrought, for you must give success. Keep me from saying words that later need recalling. Guard me lest idle speech may from my lips be falling, but when within my place I must and ought to speak, then to my word give grace, lest I offend the weak. When dangers gather round, oh, keep me calm and fearless. Help me to bear the cross when life seems dark and cheerless. Help me as you have taught, to love both great and small, and by your Spirit